He was inspired by nature, by the things he saw around, the twist in a tree, the shapes of branches, by just the organic flow of things. He's recognized as the founder of contemporary studio furniture. When Wharton died, we felt that this just couldn't be broken up, that it just had to be shared with the public. And so we set about making it into a museum. We've kept it very much as it was when Wharton lived here, which would be without cases and signs and things, so that people can get the experience of being in the artist studio. It's great.
It's wonderful.
We appreciate every bit of it.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't want to move anywhere else.
Some people have to die to get to paradise. We just have to stay alive.
Bob was the initial director of the museum, and Ruth was sort of the lifeblood of it, if you will. And they determined right off the start of the museum to allow people to walk through and maybe even run their hands over some of the pieces, carefully, which was just unheard of in the museum community back in those days.
Wharton Esherick was born on a hot, sticky July 15th, 1887, at 3926 Locust Street in West Philadelphia. And as a child was fascinated with drawing, drew on every scrap of paper in the house. He was convinced he was going to be an artist when he grew up.
And he went to a series of manual arts schools and then eventually the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, where he studied painting. Probably halfway through that experience, he felt he needed to find his own style, so he actually quit the academy and ventured off on his own. Wharton married Letty Nofer, who was also a Philadelphian. They were very artistic-minded. She was into dance. They moved out here because they just wanted to be away from the city.
I came along in 1922. My older sister, Mary, born in 1916. I also have a younger brother, Peter, who came in 1926.
So they lived this very bucolic life out here, running around naked, growing their own food.
When I first went to public school in 4th grade, they said, "Oh, you come from that nudist colony up there." Well, my parents liked nudity and in the country, and it was all fine.
1919, Letty had become interested in progressive education, and off they went to Fairhope. Letty studied the teaching method while Wharton painted. He had an exhibition of his paintings, and for that he needed frames. And so he made some frames in the carpentry shop and began carving designs on them. Well, now that he had his carving tools, he could make woodcuts. Well, then with his carving tools, he began carving furniture. Well, people would come to his little studio to look at the paintings and the woodcuts, and they'd eye his table or chairs and want to buy those. We felt, well, if I can't earn a living painting or printing wood blocks, maybe I can earn a living making furniture. And by 1926 and 27, the Whitney Design Studio in New York had become interested in his work. Once Wharton was being recognized by the museum, he felt he needed a bigger studio and a place where he could make larger pieces. And so he went up the hill behind the house and started a new building up there, a new studio.
The studio today looks very much like it did when Esherick lived here. The bedspreads are on the bed, the artwork is on the walls. Esherick was interested in this idea of an object, of a building, needing to seem as though it came out of the landscape. The object needs to be in conversation with its surrounding. Twists, curves, stretching forms, reaching upwards, and that really links back to this idea of natural growth.
Recently, last December, we were the recipient of a large endowment gift from the Wingate Charitable Foundation. primarily in response to a campus planning process that seeks to reunite the home that Wharton originally lived on Valley Forge Mountain with the studio that serves as the museum flagship building. And it also gives us capacity to do more fundraising, programming, and to reach out beyond the literal walls of the studio and start to expand our audience base. The intimate nature of our tours means that when people come through, they're interacting physically with the sculptural element of the entire building. So while that's wonderful, it's been a real hindrance in us in staying open during COVID. And we very much look forward to having visitors back on site.
Today he's recognized as the leader of art furniture. And he's been the guiding light for the new artists working in wood.
Did you realize that your father was maybe a little different than everyone else?
No, I never realized that. He worked. Your father worked, my father worked.
You know, most parents object to their children drawing on the wall. Ruth was encouraged.